How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Shane here. Gonna do a brief kind of review slash showcase of the Gold Tone AC12. This video is inspired by a couple of factors. Number one being a friend of mine over on the Banjo Heritage Discord. I'll call him Blaine. He did a recent review of the Gold Tone Traveler, which I highly recommend you check his video out. I will either put a link up here in the corner, or it'll be down in the description below. But I highly recommend you check that out if you're looking for a budget travel banjo, kind of more portable side. And then the second reason why I wanted to do this video is I plan on doing more of these kind of showcase videos of particular banjos that I've come across or have in my possession. And I've got a couple banjos, pre-turn of the century banjos, that I'm excited to share with you all. And if you're familiar or know about them, because I've talked about them or you've seen them in the Discord, I'm sure you already know, but these are some pretty cool banjos, and if you haven't seen them, I'm excited to share them with you here in the future. But anyway, we're here to talk about the Gold Tone AC12, which is the spiritual big brother of the Gold Tone Traveler, or and AC1. So I guess before I kind of break it down into things I don't like and things I like, the first thing I'll talk about and I don't like when you get it is going to be this nut. So this nut comes from the factory. I don't know if you can see it, the angle, the video here. On this edge here, you can see it's kind of like a 90-degree, pretty sharp corner. Now this is on the fourth string side, so it's not really a problem, but on this first string side, I had to use a nail file. I don't know if you could see that there, the camera will focus. But I had to nail file this corner here because when I made that C shape with my hand, the fatty part of my, where my index finger met my palm, really cut into that, and it was really uncomfortable. Now, you may not have that problem because of the shape of your hand, but like I said, this little corner here may require some filing. The other thing that I don't like is this 0 fret thing that they market right here. This thing is just kind of plopped in there, and it's kind of floating under the tension of the strings. So when you take the strings off, and I don't know if this is normal, if it's not, let me know in the comments, but that little 0 fret kind of just popped out. And so it's a consideration you'll have to make when you're replacing all of the strings on your banjo, that it may require you to keep track of that. Another critique I have, and I'm going to go through these points kind of quick so this video is not too long, it's related to the price, and the price is a good thing. However, there are some compromises made because of the price, and that's on the Miese mechanical tuners. The tuners themselves are fine. It's these little screws, these little Phillips screws that hold the actual plastic tuner in place, tend to work themselves out pretty regularly, and I fear if I over tighten them, it may crack these or bust them because they're kind of cheaply made. And if you do like I did and convert the banjo over to nylon, which I'll talk about how to do here shortly, the nylon, because they tend to vibrate a lot, especially that 4th string, these things really tend to back out and they buzz quite a bit, so you'll have to keep track of those. Another critique I have for the banjo, and like I said, I'll get through these critiques pretty quick so I can get to all the parts that you probably want to hear, the good parts, to either sway you to buying or affirm your bias that you've already bought one and you made a good choice. But another critique I'll make is about this tailpiece. So this tailpiece is all these machined edges, with the exception of these kind of like artistic or aesthetic little swoops here. All these edges are pretty sharp and not very smooth. Their finish is very rough from the machining process. So if you do decide to convert to nylons, all these edges, especially on the bottom side of this tailpiece, are going to need to be filed. I used a rat tail file and some 400 grit sandpaper and then emery cloth with some really fine compound to smooth them out. It didn't take long, but it will require some, I found that putting it in a vise, clamping it down and getting to those was the easiest way to do it. But it's a particular process that will require you to use some tools that you may not have on hand, but I would recommend you do that before you put some nylons on it. And then the last critique I'll add to it is related to the strings that come on it and the action. So the strings that came on it were steel, and it came with a standard bridge. And man, was this thing, because how tight this synthetic headed, it was so bright. I mean, kind of cutting and piercing. Not a particular tone that I was fond of. You may like it if you're doing a lot of bluegrass, 3-finger picking, but it was just too bright for my tastes. And the action was extremely low. I mean, so low that any down tuning resulted in a lot of fret buzzing. So I had to adjust this truss rod, even with the steel strings on it, and even more so, I had to adjust the truss and the coordinator rod to get the angle of the pot right. You can see I kind of took as much of that angle out of the pot. There's still some there, but take some of the angle out of the pot so I could accommodate nylons and of course the bridge. So those are my complaints with this particular banjo, and they're, like I said, they're minor given the fact that the price point as well as what you get for that price point are exceptional. So I think I paid 300 bucks, 325 bucks. I got it on sale, I believe, on a department store website. It may have been Guitar Center. I think it was Guitar Center or Reverb. I don't know which online retailer I got it from, but I got it pretty cheap, shipped to my house, ended up being 350 bucks. I think the Gold Tone AC is 300. If I'm wrong, like I said, correct me in the comments, but for 350 bucks, you get a banjo that is pretty flexible as far as how you want to set it up for tone. And this larger pot, I will tell you, you will love if you're going to be playing in an accompaniment with an acoustic guitar, kind of jamming out, because this thing is loud. I mean, it is exceptionally loud for. It was a lot louder than I expected it, even with the nylons, kind of these medium tension nylons. It's still pretty bright, or I'm sorry, pretty loud. So you get a lot of volume out of it. Another benefit that I would add is this pot is like a synthetic. I almost want to me, it kind of inspired me to think I could make my own version of this with some ABS internal coupler pipe, because this is just a 12-inch, essentially ABS plastic, and I don't see why you couldn't kind of modify a ABS 12-inch intercoupler and then drill holes in it for the hooks. But regardless, that's a tangent I'm going on. This ABS plastic, as well as this kind of heavy, I think it's acrylic or some type of cheap paint that they put on here, make this very resilient to temperature and climate changes. So, you know, going up into the mountains at altitude, this thing's not going to move too much because that internal truss rod. Going to the coast, you're not going to have to worry about high salinity environments messing with the finish of any of the components, because most of this is plastic and synthetic, or covered in some type of heavy paint. But the biggest benefit behind this thing is going to be that price point. I can't argue enough for this price, given it's an introductory level to the price point, but you're getting what I would argue a intermediate level quality as far as the sound goes. To set it up on nylons, it didn't take a lot of work, other than, like I said, putting some file to this tailpiece, changing the bridge out, adjusting the truss rod here and the coordinator rod to, you know, get the right pitch of the pot and angle of the neck, so you didn't get a lot of string buzzing. But I have been extremely satisfied with this banjo. I've had it, I think, for roughly 4 or 5 months now. I've taken it to the coast of California at Fort Bragg. I've taken it to the high mountains of the Sierra Nevadas at about 7,500 feet. It's 105 outside right now, and I'm not afraid to take this thing out with me and play it because, one, it's pretty resilient to those changes in drastic changes in climate, and two, I'm not going to break the bank if something cataclysmic happens to this banjo. And three, it's not that I don't care about it, but it doesn't hold the same personal value to me as one of my older banjos, where, you know, it would be irreplaceable to me if it were broken, damaged in an irreparable way. So if you're looking for a cost-effective, entry-level, pretty loud banjo, the Gold Tone AC12 is a great buy. I can't recommend it enough. Oh yeah, the last critique, as is to be expected, this banjo was manufactured by our Chicom friends. So again, keeping it cheap. I'm curious to see what this thing would sound like with a natural head on it, or a natural skin. But at this point, I haven't really made that commitment yet to pump into it more money, given that that's not the point of this banjo. It's meant to be a budget-friendly, safe to travel with banjo, and it's filthy because I left it on a picnic bench up at a campsite. But anyways, I hope you found this video to be helpful, this overview kind of / review style format. If you did, please leave a like, comment if you have any saved rounds, bitches, or gripes, and or concerns. And I guess this is where I'm supposed to tell you to subscribe. Given the size of my channel, I don't think that's really pertinent, but Stay tuned for an overview and kind of showcase of a couple older banjos that I'm excited to share with you and play some tunes for you on. Anyways, this is Shane, and I'll catch you all on the next one.